He's looking out the window. He wants to come out. Okay, he was bugging to come out, so I had to let him out. So hopefully I can film this. Good boy, you want to go on the camera, Kiko boy? He's so heavy. He's so heavy. He is so heavy. It's pretty hard to film with him because he's always getting into something. Kiko, your ball. Go get your ball. Look, the ball. You know, just like babies, I feel like I'm dealing with a toddler here just because he keeps eating everything. Things that he shouldn't be eating. I'm here to make a video about how we acquired Kiko. We did not acquire Kiko in the traditional sense as far as how pigs work. And like in my previous video, you can look for that. You know, again, it was like mind-blowing for me that people would buy puppies without even knowing what the litter would be. Anyhow, I started my hunt on the American Bully about maybe a year ago. Initially, I attempted to look for an American Bully in the animal shelters, but I could not find any American Bullies. And I guess because he's a designer dog, that's probably why it was pretty difficult to find a type of dog like him in the animal shelters. Just Bullies, the breeder, they actually had talked to me about co-ownership. So we actually co-own Kiko with Just Bullies. So what that means, and it sounds very daunting, but it actually isn't. So they knew I was looking for a puppy. And so they had, when I initially had contacted them, they did mention something about that, but I wasn't interested in it as I didn't really understand what it was and what it meant. So I kind of didn't have any questions for them about that just because I was not gonna, you know, get a dog that route. However, I did in the end up getting a dog that route. And what happened was they had a puppy that was going to be available for pet home only. And I don't know if you guys know what pet home only means, but in that world, in the American Bully world, what that means is basically you would only get the puppy as a pet. You wouldn't be able to breed the dog, and which was fine with me. I wasn't looking for a dog to breed. I was just looking for a pet. Yeah, so that's what a pet home only means. And so I was supposed to get a pet home only dog. And usually what happens in that world is if someone, so that the pics were already made for that litter, but because that puppy had a defect, and normally people who pay for those pics would not want a dog that had an imperfection. Just Bullies had asked if I wanted the dog, and with no hesitation, I said yes. And so I thought the whole time I was getting that puppy. However, what happened was the person who had already paid for the pic, they still wanted the puppy, even though it had a kink in its tail. And because I guess in Just Bullies' contract, there was no clause saying that they would not get the puppy if there was a defect or in the puppy. So basically they had to, go ahead and honor the contract. And so I lost that puppy. So there was 2 moms that were due around the same time at Just Bullies. And so the next litter was coming up, and Just Bullies did say that they would pick out some puppies for me to choose from. But most of the picks or most of the spots were already spoken for. So what happened was when mom had the babies, 2 of the puppies died. So really, which meant that, again, I have no puppy just because all the picks were spoken for. Look at you, Kiko boy. No one knew that, 2 puppies would die from that litter. If you watch my other video about picks, sometimes the breeder, they get to have first pick of like a male or female or the type of dog like Merles or tricolor or non-tris. A first pick male would mean they want to keep the dog basically in their breeding program. That's what that usually means if the breeder decides to have first pick. So Kiko is a first pick male. They wanted to keep in their program. So Just Bullies had reached out and actually explained the whole co-ownership program to me. After they had actually spelled out the details for the most part about the program, I was more open-minded to it. So there was a contract actually made about the co-ownership, and so it was I think it was an 8-page contract, And so anyway, they addressed most of my questions. I had a few questions, but my main concern was, okay, so if we co-own him, what does that mean down the line? Does that mean you get him in the end, or how does that work? No, so he actually stays in our home. He will be ours forever. The only obligation would be I would have to take him in. If stud services were requested, I would take him into a designated vet, and the vet would pull his semen and ship it off to wherever it needed to go. So that would be my obligation in the co-ownership. Now, you know, maybe different people have different contracts, different programs. That was my experience as far as co-ownership goes. However, I'm not going to disclose how much we did pay for him, just because, you know, out of respect for Just Bullies. Why are you so good looking? Here, let the people see you. You want a treat? Good boy. But we are actually very happy that he's in our home, and so that addressed my concern about where he would be down the line. Now, at some point, they may actually drop him from the program, and so if they drop him, they drop him. You know, I'm not sure if there's a limitation on how many semen pulls they can do, or age-wise, how old they can be to be used for stud services. So I cannot breed him myself. So they deal with that. That's their world. Nothing to do with me, except that I just take care of Kiko, and Kiko will be with us forever, and he will be ours forever. So if any of you have been approached about co-ownership, it might be something you might want to look at, because it's not a bad deal as far as the program goes. And I am incentivized for doing, you know, the co-ownership as well. So there is an incentive. Again, I will not disclose that just for privacy reasons for Just Bullies, but I am just happy to have Kiko. He has been a handful since we got him. He has been a handful, just like with any toddler that you would have in the house. So hopefully you guys can see his growth and how much he has grown since we got him. At some point I'll put together something too, like what we feed him right now and what he's on. Kiko boy, get out of there. No peace. No peace. Hi, Kiko boy. Want a snack? Want a snack, Kiko boy? But yes, so we are happy to have him in our home and in our lives, and it just feels like, you know, how could we have had our life without him? It just feels like he's been in our life always. So look at this dog. But yeah, that's pretty much how we got Kiko. So we actually co-own Kiko with Just Bullies. Thank you for watching, and I hope that explains co-ownership to you and how that works.